When you want to sell your home, you call a realtor, but what do you do when you want to sell your business? Well, you call the folks over at the Deal Firm. I want to welcome Adam Gilman and Tom Burns. Welcome back to the program. So let's talk about that. How is a business broker different than a realtor? How does that kind of differ in terms of what you do, the approach? I mean, you don't put a sign out in front of a business saying for sale, right? Or do you?
Not really. No, we represent sellers and buyers. If you're going to buy a business or want to sell a business, we do evaluation. We do the marketing. We do the everything that goes along, taking it from the beginning all the way through escrow. Right. Residential brokers, it's a similar license, but a different type of thing. Yeah. So if you're looking for a broker to do your business, I had a call this morning, as a matter of fact, coincidentally. This lady said, I'm looking to sell my business. I heard you're a business broker. Why do I need you? So I said, well, try to do it yourself.
Yeah, right.
It's not likely.
And there's a certain due diligence, I imagine, Adam, that you guys jump into when you do this. And instead of like, oh, we're doing a roof inspection, that kind of thing, but it's also like you're looking at the books, you're looking at the business and the flow and that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, we start with a financial review. We're asking them operational questions. I mean, it's case by case, and it's also dependent on the type of business.
What's the average time that it takes to actually sell a business when you finally found the people, the right kind of thing? Is that process okay? Let's do the deal, kind of thing.
People are pretty much surprised that it takes often 7 to 9 months to sell a business. Yeah.
Okay.
Much longer than you'd anticipate.
So if you're thinking about selling a business and you have this maybe time horizon, you're thinking it's not like we say, it's not like selling a house where it can be closing in 30 days. It's a much bigger deal.
It's a longer process also because you have due diligence time, which unlike a house can be 60, 90 days or more. And then you also have processing time for escrow, which can take anywhere from 1 to 3 months. If, for example, if it's a restaurant sale and there's a ABC license, like a beer and wine license, that end of it may take 90 days to deal with that department.
So if I'm thinking about selling my business, what should I be doing a year or maybe even 2 years out to like maybe lay the groundwork and kind of do some of the prep?
The ones that sell the faster are the ones that are pretty much transparent. Their books and records are very clean. They have everything. They have all their ducks in order. It's always wise also when you're selling a business, try to not to have the business totally dependent on yourself. In other words,
if you are the business kind of thing.
Yeah, it's less likely to sell quickly.
Like if I was an appraiser of jewelry and that's what I did all day, and then I'm leaving and going away, then that person is hard to replace sometimes, right? Things like that.
Well, it also makes it more challenging on the buyer's side to find a profile that might match the seller, expertise, so to speak.
So let's talk about some of the success stories you guys have had, and some of the things more recently that you say, hey, here's how we did this, here's how we handled this, here's why it went so well, because we were able to bring our expertise to the table.
Well, I'd reference the manufacturing company we did
in LA.
In LA, yeah, that was a pretty good one. We were hired to do evaluation for this manufacturing company, mid-size, well, I don't know, it was pretty big. And they gave us the books and records. We looked at them and we determined that this business wasn't ready to be sold now. To optimize it, we told them, don't sell it now. Let's wait a year or a year and a half.
Okay.
And improve. We showed them what they could do to improve their numbers. They did, and ultimately we wound up getting a couple of $1 million more than we anticipated from the beginning.
So you go in there, you kind of do an examination, you see where there's some added value that could be done quickly, and then really, kind of like replace the kitchen in a house, and all of a sudden the price goes.
Well, the deal that Tom is referencing was an interesting case study because they had increasing revenues and profits. They were trending for the last several years, 20 to 30% up, and the management felt strongly that they could continue on that trend. So we thought, well, if you're that confident, then let's wait it out, and we'll pick this back up maybe in a year or so, reevaluate the company, and then ownership can decide if you want to go to market at that time or not. And I think it was a little over a year when we did revisit it, and the value had skyrocketed, and that was like the perfect case study of, you know,
Excuse me.
about great timing.
Yeah, sounds like it. I got a Sorbet magazine here. I also have South County. For people who don't know your history, this is kind of an interesting read. You got has some profiles done on you, but you got into this business because you owned some businesses, and it was you were on the other side of like having a hard time selling and then trying to find businesses.
I was telling them in Sorbet magazine. They said, "How did you become a broker? What inspired you?" I said, I had a large manufacturing company up in LA, and I was looking for a restaurant. And I couldn't find. I was so disappointed with all the brokers I was speaking to. I thought I could do this myself, and I did.
Yeah, and you know both sides. You've purchased a business and you've also sold, and so you kind of understand both sides of the world from the client's perspective. Is that kind of a great thing you can bring to the table?
It's important. It's important.
Understanding?
It's important to be able to empathize with owners and be able to talk to them as an owner yourself. Excuse me.
And Adam, when someone sits down with you for business, is it always just a straight sale, or does sometimes to say, hey, I just don't want the burden of running it, but I'd like to still be involved, maybe have a minority equity in there? Do you do all sorts of range of kind of sales like that?
I mean, we hear different types of thinking as it relates to a potential sale. I think a lot of times business owners are tired of wearing all the hats. You know, they're doing the accounting, they're doing the admin, they're doing the sales. You know, they're involved in every facet of the business. But I think when it comes time to sell, part of it is the reality of getting to that point of the business being sold, and are they truly ready to
Let
step
go.
away completely?
Yeah.
Oh, I might be interested in sales post-transaction. This is a typical conversation that we have, but the reality, most business owners, when they exit, are typically done after the transition.
They're done, right?
period.
They've reached those maybe golden years. They maybe live right here in the village, and they say, I'm ready to enjoy my second act in life.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are probably a few times where business owners have stayed on as an employee or a consultant for some extended period of time, but eventually that tapers off.
What's some advice you would give to someone who's thinking about selling soon? Like get your books in order, make sure there's efficiencies, those kinds of things. Are what they should do, A, B, and C?
I recall one time I was asked to look at this business. What do you think of it? Do you think you can sell it for me? I said, the first thing you need to do is paint. Clean this place up. It was a disaster. You know, of course, the books and records are important, but that's just something you don't think about, the general appearance.
Yeah, when they walk in, when a prospective buyer walks in, is there a sense of professionalism? Is it
This was a Main Street business, like a bakery or something like that.
But Tom brings up a good point. The physicality of the business, for example, if it's a restaurant, the other part of the equation, like if it was a restaurant, do you have any deferred maintenance? Is all of your equipment working? Because all these little things are perception. So when you go to market, if it wasn't a restaurant, for example, it should be clean. All the equipment should be working.
Right.
It just, most of it's common sense, but these are things that we address with business owners.
Do you feel like when you go in there, you're part consultant, part broker, when you kind of like listen, and you guys obviously have made some great deals for some folks, right? And help them, like you said, with the other business, you turned around in a year's time for millions more.
It helps if you had a lot of experience, which I have. We both have. So you can speak to a buyer and be honest with them. Speak to a seller and be honest with them, and then tell them, this is what you need to do. And it comes for me, it comes with a lot of experience of having many businesses in the past.
All right. Well, folks, they are the deal firm, Adam and Tom. They can sell those businesses, and they have the experience quite clearly. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You're watching This Day. We'll be right back.